Nothing but Studebakers.
Very cool.
This guy sure thinks so.
I've got about 40 of them.
We'll see a Wagoneer with half a top, and a Lark with no top at all.
Dried up bulk, it was all primer brown.
Plus,
You want to put that so the critters can't get in your exhaust pipe.
we'll get your car ready for the winter and under the hood. If you haven't heard the one about the Studebaker that was,
Owned by a priest.
you will in minutes. Cruisin' Ohio, presented by Best of Show Automotive, starts right now. Oh, do we have some fun stuff coming up on Cruisin' Ohio, presented by Best of Show Automotive. Hi everybody, I'm Jeff Phelps, and we're at Summit Racing in Talmadge. If you need anything automotive, for your classic, for your street rod, for anything you want to put together, for your Studebaker, come here to Summit Racing. That's why we're here today. Studebaker, an all Studebaker show here at Summit Racing. Studebaker, one of those lost American automobile manufacturers. They started building cars in 1902 with an electric car. In 1904, they went to gas, and they just kept churning out very interesting, very creative automobiles until the company went under in 1963 here in the United States, and then in 1966 in Hamilton, Ontario. But the Studebaker has lasted because people have an absolute passion for this car, and we found that out in a hurry here today at Summit Racing. Rolly, take one look at your license plate and you realize the passion that people have for Studebakers. You've come down from Ontario for this one.
That's true, yes. It's actually my first time here. I've been to Summit by myself about 2 years ago, which I purchased the wheels that are on this car right now. So I decided that there's an opportunity to come down here again. I would take it.
Folks in the States know, of course, that Studebakers were made in South Bend, but the last Studebakers were made in Hamilton, Ontario. That plant closed in '66.
There's quite a following for Studebakers in around the Hamilton area. I'm the vice president of the Hamilton Studebaker Drivers Club. We have 68 members, and I believe the last number that I heard, there was 219 registered with STC, the American contingent. The Ontario Club is also active there. I believe they have about 148 members, which means that's all over Ontario.
Rolly, this isn't your first Studebaker, but it sure is a sharp one.
Yeah, no, I've had 3 or 4 Studebakers. This one here, I decided I wanted something a little bit more on the performance side for Studebaker, so I could play with. This car isn't actually completely stock, but it gives me the opportunity to use Studebaker parts for a little bit more performance, and I have fun with this car. It goes pretty good and it's pretty peppy. It has an R1 Avanti engine out of a '64 Avanti, and I've done a few modifications to it, and so I enjoy this car actually a little more than some of the bone stock ones, because you can actually get out and boot around with it a bit.
You wouldn't think jazzing up a Studebaker, but that's what you've done with this. What did it look like when you picked it up, and where'd you find it, Rolly?
Actually, I found it, and it was an ad in North Carolina. The car originally came from Florida. I thought, man, I wanted to do a little hardtop that looked different, and this actually does different. And when I bought it, I had the purpose of doing a little modifications to it, and everything in the car is Studebaker except for of course, the wheels, the disc brakes on the front, and a few other articles, the electrical system and stuff, but everything is basically Studebaker on the car.
Good to have you here from Ontario.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Jerry, you walk around this show, one of the most unique features you see on any of these Studebakers is your friend sitting right there at the front of the car, all nice and chromy. How much do you like that feature of the car, the bullet nose on the Studebaker?
Well, in 1982, when we were looking for an antique car, we found this one in a barn, and that bullet nose is what drew us to it. In fact, it was so ugly, my wife said that we could come home with us.
It needed a good home, right?
Yes, it did. It really did.
This is a 1950 Champion.
1950.
Yep.
3-passenger business coupe. They only made 596 of these back in 1950.
And you found it in a barn, just sitting there. What was the story behind it?
Well, supposedly, this car was owned by a priest out of Enon, Ohio, and it was given to, when he passed away, to the Sorrowful Mother Shrine in Bellevue. And it just happened to be in a garage, a gas station, and a friend of mine told me about it, and we went out that night, found it, loved it, brought it home.
And you've been working on it ever since?
I spent 3 years of my life, from 1982 to 85, to restore this car, yes.
It's pretty serious. And you did it yourself?
I did everything myself, yes I did.
And did you know what you were doing when you started?
No, I did not. When I bought it,
that's an honest guy.
It looked really nice, but I found out that I had to take auto body classes and mechanics classes to be able to get the car back on the road. This car actually has 350 pounds of new metal in it.
Put in by you.
Put in by me.
Along with the bullet nose. What features about this car do you really like, Jerry?
Well, it has the hill holder feature on it. It has overdrive. It's what they call the Regal Deluxe, which makes it the top of the line for a business coupe, which was very rare back then, which means it has the stainless steel around the windows, on the back fenders, down under the doors, all the extra chrome bumpers, front and back. So that's one of the reasons I really like it.
Has it been pretty much this way since the end of the restoration?
Yes. In fact, this paint job has never been rubbed up. That's the way it came out of the gun in 1982.
Mike, I think a lot of folks think of Studebakers as these little compact cars of the 60s, and they don't bother to turn back the clock and see real nasty looking Studebakers like your 39 Commander. That's a nasty looking car, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of all the Studebakers, obviously they all stand out. They're all unique, they're all different. But yours really doesn't look like what I think most people think a Studebaker would look like. What type of reaction do you get when people get this out?
It's modified, so people like it. Well, it's been totally off the frame, and every nut and bolt's been out of it. Then the body's been stripped down, and everything's been painted. It's total.
How long did the project take?
About 7 years, actually, altogether.
What is it about this vehicle that you like the most, Mike?
I liked it because it was different. You know, they didn't make a lot of them. It's a two-door club sedan. There's a lot of four-doors and quite a few coupes, but two-door club sedans are a little more rare.
What is it about Studebaker that made you think, I want to do a Studebaker rather than a
Well, I had a
Ford
53 before, and it was all stock. And after it was done, it wasn't what I wanted. So then I knew I wanted something go a little faster and stop a little better.
Well, it looks like it goes a little faster. And it stops traffic, I'm sure.
Thank you.
It's not your typical selling point.
My wife said it was so ugly that I couldn't pick up women with it.
But it's next on Cruisin' Ohio, presented by Best of Show Automotive. Looking to sell your classic car? Let the consignment professionals at Best of Show Automotive do the work for you. Best of Show has a 90% sell-through rate on all consigned cars. Buyers will see your classic,